This person writes, is this a red flag? Argument over the most stupid thing ever. When this happens, there's usually some deeper issue, some kind of emotional thing, usually related to 3 C's of masculinity, 3 U's of femininity. And basically, this little instance, whatever the case may be, is just kind of the expression of them being hurt in another way or something else that is going wrong in the relationship. So let's get into it. This woman, she's writing it. She's 25. She says, I was on my phone with a guy who's 24 that I'm seeing, and we were talking for a couple hours. Then we started talking about music, and he told me to send him my favorite song. So I sent it to him, and immediately he said how shit the song was, and I felt really insulted. Well, that's just kind of like a rude thing to do. And I think like that's probably not the stupidest thing to, because it actually is pretty rude. Yeah, it's like, okay. He turned it into an argument because after I told him how rude he was being, he started yelling almost at the top of his lungs that he doesn't need to like all of my music. Ooh, yeah, I would steer towards this as a red flag because he's really losing his temper and he's coming totally unglued. And usually it's like when he does this, it's like doesn't really make her feel safe. And it shows he's kind of like weak as far as his emotional center. It's like usually masculine people, their superpower, their strength is to contain that sense of calm, and he can't do that. So it's like, man, I would definitely consider this a red flag. Because if he's going to blow up and scream at the top of his lungs over something little like that, it's like it'll probably happen again. Even if he says, oh, it's just a one-time thing, it's like it's probably something he has a pattern of doing, and just be really careful on it. I genuinely couldn't understand why he was being so aggressive. I wasn't yelling at all, so there was no reason for him to get so defensive, and then he hung up. Yeah, he's being a baby. Like throwing a tantrum. It's like, you don't like the right music, so I'm going to yell and hang up on you. It's like, really, dude? Yeah, personally, I'd say she might consider just finding somebody else, honestly, especially if they're just started dating and they're in an early stage and he's doing something like this. It's like still, well, it might be at a time where she's not totally emotionally connected to the guy. Maybe she's not in love with him yet. So it might be a good time to get out now. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, even if he feels like you're hurting him in whatever way, kind of what I was referring to at the beginning, if like it's some other thing, like he's feeling like controlled or criticized, or that you're closed off, or whatever the reason, maybe something's going bad at work or whatever it is, it's like still, it's no excuse for him to act that way. And it's kind of a dangerous thing to get in a pattern of, just because it's like, even if it's not physical, it's like still an emotional kind of really a way of emotional abuse if you're just freaking out on somebody over like things like that. And I personally wouldn't want to be with somebody that blows up in anger like that, man or woman. So it's like, her standpoint, I would say yes. I would say this is a red flag, and I would say consider getting out of the relationship.